Greetings ladies and gents, this is going to be a tutorial responding to user Loadable Films who had a question pertaining towards the Drunken PvE video. The effect that he wanted to ask me about was when the Paladin Tankalolly, after he gets struck by the dragon, how do you create this effect here where the character seems to be travelling at a very high velocity and has all the shaking and whatnot, and I'm going to show you how to recreate that. So I've only got 9 minutes or so left, so let's just get stuck into it. First thing you need to do is be logged online, or you can have WoW Map Viewer like myself. You can be anywhere, to be honest, just have a nice wide shot. After all, this is your first time and it's just going to be a test, so go with the flow. So I'm just going to record just a couple of seconds of background footage. It only has to be about 3 or 4 seconds. Go into my footage folder, drag that background into the timeline, and I'm just going to stretch it. And the first thing you need to do is you need to zoom in, not too much, and go about yay far, so about halfway of what your zoom allows. Move it to the far left. Now you see this icon here, I need you to click that so the arrows are pointing left and right. The reason why is it will only allow you to move your footage left and right. So go a few seconds into your footage, let's say about here, and move the zoom across to the right. So now what you've got is a piece of footage where the zoom is going from left to right. Now you're thinking, what the fuck is the point of this nonsense? Well, if I show you the actual clip once more, all I've done is exactly what I've just shown you there on that background. I've just zoomed from left to right, and what I've done is I've looped that movement over and over again. So if you look at this background, if you ignore the shaking and the blur, it's essentially the same background. So if you look at this pillar over here, this blue part, if you go a few seconds forward, there it is again, and again, and again, which is basically what we're going to be doing right here with this background. So what I've just done now is I've done that same thing that I've just shown you, where the footage is, where the zoom is moving from left to right. The only problem is right now the zoom is moving way too slowly. So I'm going to move these two keyframes together to drastically speed it up. So you'll have this rapid movement. Now I'm going to click on the last keyframe and I'm going to erase the rest of the clip. So when you click on keyframes, it also updates it in the timeline. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go onto the very edge of the clip, hold down left click and drag to get rid of the rest of the footage. Now all I've got is a very, very small clip, which will just do this and stop. So what you need to do now is right click, video event effects, go into Gaussian blur, add that, reduce the vertical blur to 0 and only have the horizontal, which is the left to right blur, and have it roughly on 1. Now when you play the footage now, you'll have this rapid movement. Now what it's missing is the screen shake effect. Now here's the reason I did not really want to make this tutorial, because I use a plugin called Earthquake, and what that does is it causes the screen to shake, like you're seeing here, and you can adjust how much you want the screen to shake as well. Now I will acknowledge that not everyone will have this plugin, nor will they be interested in spending any money, so for the sake of doing this on an even playing field, I'm going to remove it, and I don't know why, but I'm going to do this manually. So I'm in the same boat as you are. Bear in mind it's the first time I'm doing this, because normally I've had a plugin do the job for me. Now, using what knowledge I have, if I was to do this manually, I'd leave this as it is and tinker in between. So I'm going to go to frame 1 and add a very slight rotation. Go to frame 2, rotate it that way, frame 3, and you can see where I'm going with this. I'm just going to repeat this process over and over again. I won't tinker it too accurately because I just do not have the time within what YouTube offers me, nor do I want to bore you to death. So I'm just going to do this constant rocking back motion. I might even move the footage up a bit just to create an extra shake, and just continue to repeat this process until I reach the very end of the clip, which I'm almost there, just 2 frames to go. Come on, you little bugger. And there we go. No idea how well this looks. Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, it's a bit too... the wobbling is rather generic, but fuck it, it works. If I was doing this properly, I'd tinker the hell out of it, but you kind of get where I'm going with this, where you'll have to manually create the motion. does look a bit weird, but it seems okay. In fact, I might speed this up even more by holding down Control, left click and dragging it so it moves a bit quicker. So now I've got an extremely rapid clip. Now all you need to do now is right click, copy, go roughly to the very end of the clip, hold down Control V and paste that, and just repeat this process. Just make sure your footage is blending in, because if you do it like that, you'll have a gap, and you want a nice fluid motion, so drag it so it's about 0.02, so your footage is cross-fading and blending in properly. And you just repeat this process over and over again, so when you play the footage, what you'll have is this constant, rapid moving, shaking background. So, as you can see, it's the exact same thing which I've done right here. No different, exactly the same. Well, the only difference is the fact that I used the Earthquake plugin, which is the reason why the shakes were more realistic. Plus, if I had more time, I'd tinker this to make it more realistic as well. All you need then is this following animation. I'm not sure, it differs between models, but the best one I found for the Blood Elf is the Drowned animation. So you just select Drowned, have him on his side, record, just get a few seconds. You grab the footage, drag that into Vegas, stretch the footage, add the keying chroma key effect to get rid of the blue background, trim just to cut the edges because it lags a tad, rotate it so the footage is showing as if the character has been punched away, so I'd do it roughly about here, probably zoom in a bit. And then I'm just going to add the Gaussian blur effect to this model as well. Same thing, horizontal range. I have the vertical reduced to 0 and have the horizontal. Don't have it as high as the background because that's too blurry, so I'd go roughly for about the 40s, give or take. That'll do. And what you need to do is you need to repeat the same process what I did before, where you need to manually add keyframes. This is assuming you don't have the plugin. Obviously I don't have the time to do this now because chances are I'll be running out of time very soon. So instead, to save time, I'm just going to use the Earthquake plugin. And don't ask me where I got it, you'll find it on the net. So now when I play it, and when I trim this, you'll have this effect. Now obviously it's a bit lagging, so I'm going to build a dynamic RAM preview, so I'll buffer this into my RAM so it'll play a bit more smoother. Now do remember, this whole clip needs a lot of tinkering before, if I was using this for a proper machinima, I'd tinker the hell out of it, but that's the effect that I've got. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it, yeah, right. It is a tricky thing to do, and personally it's a rather big pain in the ass. Now, the only thing which I haven't done is in this clip the character is slowly moving across the screen, which again is easy as fuck to do. All I would really do is I would, on the first frame, have him here, and at the end have him a bit lower, and let's say there, and then play the clip. I'm flying, and that's it. So, Loadable Films. I hope that kind of shed some light on how I achieved this effect. I know I did rush it, but that's simply because it requires a lot of stuff and can be quite time consuming, and I would have loved to have shown you how to manually do the keyframes, but you're gonna have to, I've already shown it how to do it for the background. It's the exact same principle. Just go frame by frame, add a slight rotation, increase the height, or just to save time, look around for the Earthquake plugin because it's an absolute godsend, because the shakes are very realistic and you can even adjust the magnitude and velocity. So, I hope that answers your question, and I hope that you guys have actually found this tutorial somewhat informative. So that is all from me. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.